Hello, welcome to the 13th Annual Kosciuszko Chair Spring Symposium. This year's virtual conference will focus on the topic of crisis in the Intermarium, war in Ukraine, and its implications. Today's joint virtual symposium is organized by the Institute of World Politics and is in honor of Lady Blanka Rosenstiel. For those of you who are new, IWP is a graduate school of national security, intelligence, and international affairs. We offer a doctoral program, 7 master's degree programs, including 2 online MAs, and 18 certificates of graduate study. If you're interested in learning more about us, please visit iwp.edu. On behalf of IWP, I'd like to thank all our supporters who make these events possible. Today we will hear from Mr. Pawel Pawlowski, who will give a lecture entitled Securing Growth, Advancing Connectivity in the 3 Cs Initiative for Enhanced Regional Security. Mr. Pawlowski is a graduate of law from the Faculty of Law and Administration at the University of Warsaw, where he is currently pursuing doctoral research focused on the pivotal themes of freedom of speech and countering disinformation. He is also an alum of the Babson Entrepreneurship Program at Babson College. Additionally, he completed a research internship at the Institute of World Politics in Washington, D.C., broadening his understanding of international affairs. Pawel's professional journey began in the banking sector before transitioning to the managerial role in one of the leading companies in the transport industry in Central and Eastern Europe. Throughout his career, he has been actively engaged with various think tanks focusing on international cooperation and security issues. Currently, he serves on the board of the Transatlantic Alliance Foundation and the Central and Eastern European Council. Pawel is a staunch advocate for deepening multidimensional cooperation in Central and Eastern Europe, particularly through projects such as the 3 Cs Initiative. He is also passionate about leveraging emerging and disruptive technologies to enhance national security measures. Please welcome Mr. Pawlowski.
Hello, my name is Pawel Pawlowski. It's a great pleasure for me. I want to express my gratitude for the invitation to participate in this event. It's a great honor to be here with you today. Over a decade ago, I had the privilege of serving as an intern at the IWP, and now it's my great pleasure to be back and have the opportunity to share some of my thoughts with you. Securing growth, advancing connectivity in the 3 Cs Initiative for enhanced regional security. I would like to present the concept of the 3 Cs Initiative, which is a regionally specific program that addresses challenges and opportunities in the Central and Eastern European countries. I will also discuss the various forms of cooperation between these countries. The 3 Cs Initiative. Well, it has been established in 2016 as a framework for regional cooperation and integration, with a particular focus on the economy and infrastructure, particularly energy, digital, and transportation infrastructure. The 3 Cs Initiative has been established for regional cooperation and integration of 13 European countries located between the Baltic, Black, and the Adriatic Sea. However, you can see on the map that there are also other seas involved here, but I think we'll come back later to that. Why do these countries need to work together even though they are all in the European Union? What makes them different from the other countries of the European Union? What do they have in common? Well, I will try to answer to these questions briefly. First of all, the land between the Black, Baltic, and Adriatic Sea is often referred to as the Intermarium. For those interested in a detailed examination of that concept, I would like to highly recommend the book Intermarium, written by Dr. Marek Jan Chodakiewicz, my esteemed friend and mentor. Intermarium is strategically located and populated by various nations of different religions, which has resulted in the development of a very unique culture. The region witnessed the clash of civilization on numerous occasions, making it a particularly significant case study. Over the centuries, there have been numerous attempts to organize the region, both internal and external, organic and artificial. In the 15th and 16th centuries, the Jagiellonian dynasty, which originated in Lithuania, expanded its influence through two key strategies. First, through a personal union with the Crown of Poland, and second, through other dynastic alliances. As a result, the Jagiellonians controlled the territories of modern Poland, Czechia, Slovakia, Hungary, and partly Croatia, Romania, Ukraine, Belarus, and even some parts of today's Russia. The Jagiellonians were not oppressive. They respected local particularities and personal freedom, of course, of the nobility. Unfortunately, problems in giving birth to male offspring, the aggressive expansion of the Ottoman Empire, and missed dynastic alliances with the Habsburgs resulted in a drastic decline of the Jagiellonian rule in Central and Eastern Europe. One of the most intriguing concepts proposed for Intermarium was the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, which placed a high value on individual liberties and allowed individuals of diverse ethnicities and religious affiliation to coexist in a harmonious manner. In contrast, in neighboring countries, individuals were subjected to persecution and violence because of their beliefs. The kings were elected by the nobility in a popular election, and it is noteworthy that the nobility constituted 10% of the population. Parliament issued laws, and the kings were bound by the law. The Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth attracted people from various European regions, including those from the Netherlands or even Scotland. This country was able to resist Russian, Ottoman, and Swedish incursions. However, the political system deteriorated, the state became corrupt, and it was unable to reform itself. Consequently, by the end of the 18th century, the country was partitioned among its neighboring oppressive powers, Austria, Russia, and Prussia. A significant portion of the Intermarium was acquired by the House of Habsburgs. The reforms implemented in the mid-19th century resulted in a considerable degree of cultural and political autonomy for the various nations that were under the rule of Emperor Franz Joseph. However, the empire was not free from significant tensions, which became more evident as Austro-Hungary was losing the First World War and subsequently dissolved. A distinct model of integration was proposed by Imperial Russia, which differed significantly from the previous approach. Mongolian despotism and the absence of institutions were evident in the belief that power was the ultimate authority. The Russian Empire's imperialistic tendencies were cloaked in the rhetoric of Pan-Slavism, but the objective was to exert control and authority over the others. Also, in the same case was applied here. First World War and the Bolshevik Revolution ended that type of Russian domination in the region, but obviously that's not the end of the Russian expansionist policy in Intermarium region. Definitely more advanced and more interesting ideas about the Central and Eastern European region were expressed by a German political thinker, Friedrich Naumann. He was opposed to the militaristic policies and expansionist actions of the Second Reich. He believed that the German people should exercise dominance over the smaller Central and Eastern European countries through economic means. He advocated for the region to be subjected to German economic goals, but he believed that this should be done through political means, not military action. It is important to recall that he is a patron of a think tank that is affiliated with one of the major political parties in the current German political landscape. His thoughts are therefore subject to careful study even today, and we can see that in a German policy introduced by various parties from the German political landscape. The German implemented subsequent policies that were even more draconian than those initially proposed by Second Reich. However, these policies were ultimately unsuccessful, resulting in the collapse of the German forces and the subsequent occupation of the Central and Eastern Europe by the Soviet Union. The whole region was subjected to the revolutionary imperialist aims of the Soviet Union. The traditional culture was subjected to a form of oppression. The Soviet exploited the existing divisions between the nations of the Intermarium, and that we can see that some of those divisions are still very deep in hearts of people who live in the region. The dissolution of the Soviet bloc was, however, initiated in the Intermarium region, with Poland serving as a precursor of the subsequent decline of the communists in other Eastern Bloc countries. Luckily, the period of communist domination in the Intermarium has ended, and currently the most significant structures influencing the CE region in the present era are NATO and the European Union. The military alliance is undergoing further expansion due to the assertive Russian foreign policy, aggressive Russian policy that we can witness, especially in Ukraine. The EU is exerting a pivotal influence on the legal and economic realities of the region. It is evident that the significance of smaller, more local platforms of the regional cooperation is less pronounced. The Visegrad Four, gathering Poland, Czechia, Slovakia, and Hungary, for instance, served as an important structure when these countries were integrating into the North Atlantic Treaty Organization and the European Union. And the Craiova Group followed as a similar trajectory. This Craiova Group contains of Romania, Serbia, Montenegro, Bulgaria, and Greece. Given the gravity of the security challenges in the region, regional cooperation in this field is of particular importance in the Intermarium. This became particularly evident following the Russian invasion of Ukraine in 2014. The primary forum for this collaboration is B9, Bucharest 9. This forum allows NATO members from the eastern flank to engage in discussions and shape their collective approach to the threats posed, especially by Russia, but also by other actors. And that common approach can be later expressed in NATO. And now we can see that they were not just a Russophobes, but the countries of B9 were quite realistic about real Russian aims and the policy toward the imperialistic policy towards the former sphere of influence. I wanted to show you these countries of the eastern flank of NATO. It was evident that Russia represented a significant threat to that part of Europe, and its capacity to employ military force to advance its agenda strongly influenced the countries of the eastern flank of NATO. And these countries demonstrated a willingness to allocate greater resources toward defense and align the spending with the requirements set forth by NATO. And that's the huge significance between those countries and other European countries, much wealthier countries like France or Germany. And finally, another format of cooperation is the 3Cs initiative. And its strategic goal is the preservation and strengthening of the unity of the European Union and the Euro-Atlantic space. In order to achieve these goals, member countries are dedicated to strengthening infrastructure connecting the Intermarium region. It's worth mentioning that the 3Cs initiative represents a significant portion of the EU population, encompassing almost 30% of the EU territory and growing percentage of the EU economy. On this map, there are only 12 countries because Greece joined the 3Cs initiative last year. Over the past few decades, Central and Eastern Europe, the Intermarium, and the countries also of the 3Cs initiative has experienced a remarkable transformation. For example, Poland and Czechia currently have the lowest unemployment rate in the entire European Union. And as we can see, that map on the left that shows unemployment rate in 2004, for example, Poland was the country with one of the highest unemployment rate in the whole European Union. So that change is really, really huge. And we can see it also in other data. The combination of hard work and enterprising spirit led to the emergence of a remarkable economic phenomenon. The region was experiencing remarkable growth, rapidly catching up with its Western European counterparts. And it is possible to make a lawful comparison between the economic growth observed in these countries and that which was experienced by, for example, the Asian tigers or post-war Western Europe. We can see the trajectory on the slide that you can observe right now. That is a comparison between Poland's Standard Europe, in this case after World War II, and Asian tigers from 60s and 70s. We will see what will happen next. For now, it looks absolutely great. Nevertheless, a notable disparity persists between Western Europe and Central and Eastern Europe. One contributing factor is the underdeveloped infrastructure, particularly the lack of robust north-south connections. The underlying causes are multifaceted and include factors such as dependent development, many historical circumstances like the Soviet legacy. The importance of West-East connection was evident both, for example, for German economy and also for the Soviet military and expansionist plans on the other hand. Currently, the Intermarium countries are seeking to construct robust infrastructure that will facilitate economic and security integration of the region. The significance of energy infrastructure in the region and its implications for security have become increasingly evident in the wake of Russian aggression against Ukraine. A similar observation can be made regarding digital infrastructure and cybersecurity that is connected with it. It is evident that these infrastructure has the potential to be utilized for both civilian and also military purposes. And this is what 3Cs initiative is about. It's not solely about economy, as it was expressed at the beginning of that concept, but it is also about security. And we can say that we are very lucky that we prepared some of that infrastructure, like we can see on that map, highways, railways, but also pipelines that helped this part of Europe to survive at the beginning of the war between Russia and Ukraine in 2022. Also, that infrastructure supplied, for example, Germany. Unfortunately, on that map, we can also see a completely different sort of approach. It's a Nord Stream pipeline connecting Russia and Germany. We could observe the bankruptcy of that concept. Energy was at the core of 3Cs initiative at its beginning, but it became very clear that the countries should be connected not only by this energy infrastructure, but also by digital infrastructure, given the great opportunities and challenges of our times and the changing economy and sources of growth. But it is also about transportation infrastructure. That's also another example of dual use infrastructure. And that includes harbors, airports, and also railways that are extensively used for military purposes. And the war in Ukraine served as a reminder to EU decision makers. Reminder of the necessity to consider the potential dual use of that infrastructure, and especially in the Central and Eastern Europe, which is in the same time the eastern flank of NATO. And that led to the revision of the Trans-European Transport Network, TEN-T, which sets directions for the development of transport infrastructure in the European Union. And it is evident that the inclusion of north-south connections represents a significant step forward. This is of paramount importance for the economic and security interests of the region. It presents a valuable opportunity for fostering economic growth. And in the same time, it provides a more efficient means of transporting military equipment and forces along the eastern flank of NATO. On the left, we can see a map that shows how this TEN-T network looked like before the war in Ukraine. We can see connections between Baltic states and Netherlands. We can see connections between Baltic seaports like Gdańsk, Gdynia, Szczecin, Świnoujście, and Adriatic seaports in Italy, Slovenia. But we were lacking connections, for example, between Black Sea ports in Romania or Bulgaria and Baltic Sea ports. Now it's changed. In the middle, on the map in the middle, we can see road infrastructure, and on the right, we can see railway infrastructure. And there are new corridors that are connecting Polish Baltic ports with Constanța in Romania, with Burgas in Bulgaria, with Piraeus and in Greece. So we have completely new opportunities, and it is a great opportunity for economy of the region. And it is also fostering cultural cooperation and bonds between people, but it is also affecting the security of the region. To supply NATO forces on the eastern flank of NATO, we need to have different options, and it's that transport can be affected, for example, by weather condition. And when we have bad weather condition on the Baltic Sea, we can use those ports which are on the Adriatic Sea, but we can also use the Black Sea, or we can use Aegean Sea. So I'm coming back to the map from the beginning of that presentation, because when we were discussing Three Seas Initiative, we mentioned Baltic Sea, Adriatic Sea, and Black Sea. But since last year, when Greece also joined the Three Seas Initiative, and that shows that this is that this initiative has a potential for different partners, for new partners. It expanded to be in some way the Four Seas Initiative, but obviously the name wasn't changed. Even though this format is only EU members can be part of the Three Seas Initiative, other countries also can join it. For example, Ukraine or Moldova, they have the status of the participating partners, and they can join different initiatives that are held within the Three Seas Initiative. We will see what will be the future of this format. I am very glad I could show you the wide picture of the Intermarium region and the cooperation between these countries, sometimes the very hard history and the foreign external domination, and the great history of internal regional cooperation, different formats, more economic, more political, and finally to show you the Three Seas Initiative, its potential, its goals, and its achievements. I hope you liked it, and I hope you will try to find out something more about different aspects of this idea of this platform of cooperation. Central and Eastern Europe is very complicated. There are many countries here, many different languages, many different cultures, and sometimes it's easier to refer to this region as a Three Seas or Intermarium, and it's good to have that kind of cooperation also externally. And it's worth mentioning that this initiative has been supported from the beginning by the US government, and it was President Donald Trump even participated in one of the Three Seas summit, the one that was held in Warsaw. Joe Biden didn't. He didn't do that, but his representatives and representatives of his administration were present at the summits of Three Seas Initiative. I hope that this American commitment will be greater, because this is a part of Europe that is open for further cooperation with the US, and I hope that it will be seen from Washington, D.C., and I am happy that I could show you this format of cooperation in my region. Thank you very much for your attention, and thank you very much for your attention, and have a nice day. Thank you.